Hi all, welcome to the Monday edition of the Off the Post. Basically we are delving into transfers. We were going to do this over the weekend, but basically transfers were far and few between that stood out, and we thought we'd delve into it today because there's been a healthy amount since, and kind of just discuss a few of them and give our kind of opinion and where we think some of them may go from there. So starting off with Valentino Lazaro. He is the most recent, went from Inter to Torino on loan. Cheers Doze Awazim's to Boavista Tajuk split. Interesting one really. Awazim I'm sure had a bit of potential about him. It's not quite happened. He obviously went from Portugal to Croatia. Going about Lazaro, he's an interesting one as well because he did well in Germany. Hasn't really done it at Benfica. Obviously he's at Inter as his primary club and joining Torino. Where it happens or not is a different matter. Marchesin to Celta Vigo from Porto, veteran goalie, kind of established very well in the Portuguese league. So going to Celta Vigo, maybe fancies trying to get the number one jersey there, I don't know. Joe Rodon, Spurs to Rennes, which is an interesting one on loan. But shows that more British talent just fancying the move abroad, taking their chances, and Rennes definitely being shrewd with their signings this summer, so could prove quite interesting. Matheus Vecino, Inter to Lazio on a free transfer. You forget that he's been at Inter for so long, and Lazio just try to juice up their midfield. Rodrigo Riquelme, Atletico to Girona on loan. Juricic, Filip Juricic of Sassuolo to Sampdoria on a free transfer. From there we go to Richard Bazur, Batista Alkmaar. I'm not going to run through all of the transfers that have happened. I'm just trying to run through like notable names, as it were, that's kind of familiar to like myself, but also to maybe other people. Ayssan Sako going from the first tier to the third tier of France, going from Nice to Avranches. Interesting transfer, but it's a free one after all. Kevin Varga going from Kasım Paşa to Hatayspor. I only know Varga because of like Kasım, like the Turkish league I do keep an interest in. Big bit of money spent by Steaua Bucharest, 1.5 million on David Michalescu from Arad. Fair play them, like spending 1.5 million, sign of intent I suppose. Borja Mayoral going to Getafe permanently for 9 million from Real Madrid. You forget it, it's like he's been on loan with that many different clubs that's kind of happened. Fabregas going from Monaco to Como on a free transfer, and he is also a part owner of the club for what I understand. So we'll see how that one plays out. Yeah, there's definitely potential in that. Ruben Semedo, Olympiacos to Al Duhal in the Qatari League for 3.1 million. Semedo obviously just try to secure the money in the bag, I suppose, is what it is. Alexis Beka from Lokomotiv Moscow to Nice for 10.8 million. He only just joined Lokomotiv Moscow a year ago for 5.4. So for Nice to double, basically Lokomotiv to double up their investment right away is like fair play, but at the same time I'm kind of surprised by that one. Tavernier, Marcus Tavernier to be precise, Middlesbrough to Bournemouth for 10.7 million. Donis Arivaj, former Hearts player briefly, but I don't think he even did much for Hearts if memory serves, went from Hartberg to Zurich. So he went from Austria to Switzerland. I think he's had quite a few clubs if memory serves. Simon Tibbling, Randers to Sarpsborg, so he's went Denmark to Norway. Simon Tibbling is a bit of an odd one because he's never really kicked on. I remember a few years ago there was a bit of hype on him, but it's never really materialised. But hey ho with that one. From like there you've like it's a lot of like smaller leagues getting like kind of like the transfers, like Catalano 500,000. Sparta Rotterdam, to be honest, I've been quite serious with a bit of transfers, and same for Zulte Waregem. Sparta spent £1 million near enough on two players from odds. like 550k on Catalano, just over 400 for Lauritsen. So bit of ambition, like fair play to them. And you've got to kind of do that bit of ambition if you want to not just stay up, but like be competitive in the league. But yeah, fair play to them. Like, so it can't be faulted in any shape or form. Cote, Osasuna Sporting Gijon on a free transfer. Federico Di Francesco of Spal has joined Lecce for 450. Could be an interesting transfer, I suppose, because obviously he's a half decent player. Di Francesco, he's just never kicked on. Henk Veerman, Utrecht to Volendam. Domagoj Vida, the veteran Croatian centre back who's been at Besiktas for quite a few years, has joined AEK Athens on a free transfer. Mitchell de Vriend Abba to Al Dafri, so he's went from the Saudi League to the UAE League. Another signing to the UAE League is Arthur Jorge of Morientes, so a bit of dealings there. Aurel Mangala, 11.7 million from Stuttgart to Nottingham Forest. David Raum joined Leipzig from Hoffenheim for 23.4 million. Ismaili is now a free signing to somebody. Marcelo, formerly of Lyon, who was playing really well at Lyon just a couple of seasons ago, went to Bordeaux, didn't really do anything there. Now at Western Sydney on a free transfer, is what it is. Marcelo was an interesting one. Like, seen that this morning, and that was like one of the first transfers I seen this morning. I was like, oh, Marcelo joining the A League. Wasn't necessarily expecting it, but I suppose like the A League's got to try and make a bit of shrewd signings, because that's like Nani, for example. He was quite a shrewd bit of business within the league lately as well. But yeah, like Ruben Semedo with Ruben Semedo, for example, he was an interesting one. Going back to him, but Oscar Mingueza joining Celta Vigo for 2.7 million from Barcelona. See how that one plays out. Parola joining Salernitana on loan, £800,000 loan fee for him. Wilfried Kanga joining Hertha Berlin from Young Boys for 3.6. Daniel Samek, Lecce for 1.8 from Slavia Prague. Fiorentina's Jakob Rasmussen joining Feyenoord, who've done a bit of business over the weekend as well. Get into that in due course. David Jensen joining Istanbulspor from New York Red Bulls. Diego Lanes, loan transfer from Betis to Braga. Andre Poco, joining Calij from Altai. Nihun Perez, the Atletico Madrid centre backs, joined Udinese. See how that transfer plays out, I suppose. Bielek of Derby joining Birmingham. Glenn Middleton has joined Dundee United from Rangers. From there we move over to Junior Ito, £9 million transfer from Genk to Reims. Luan Perez has went to Fenerbahce from Marseille. Hyunjun Sok, the South Korean forward, is now a free agent. Going back to Feyenoord, as we say, Santiago Jimenez joined from Cruz Azul for 3.6 million. Eric Pulgar to Flamengo for 2.5. Daniel Maldini, free transfer to Spezia. Lejeune to Vallecano from Alaves. Benjamin Verbic, this is an interesting one in my eyes, going Dynamo Kiev to Panathinaikos. Didn't initially anticipate that, but maybe felt that's an interesting step in his direction, because he's a half decent winger. I thought he might have went maybe like Germany or maybe even like Eredivisie, for example, but Greece, each their own. Big spend from Brest of Akraf Dari from Wydad for 2.4 million. Rabora joining Levante on loan from Villarreal. Jose Altidore going to Puebla on a loan. Endroy Boss from Angers to Udinese for 3.6. Rigoni joining Austin in the MLS from Sao Paulo for 3.3 million. Brian Romero joining Internacional for 800,000 from 810 from River Plate. Then Arthur Theat going back to Rennes, who've, as we mentioned earlier, made some good transfers, going from Bologna to Rennes for 17.1 million. Very shrewd business that. Fabio Abreu going from Albertin to Corfacan in the UAE League. In G joining Sivaspor, Ricardo Goulart, who was at Santos, formerly of the Chinese Super League, is now a free agent. See how that one plays out, I suppose, because I bet you didn't expect that one to happen. Well, as in he did. Moy Gomez 1.6 million to Osasuna from Villarreal. Alex Santana going from Ludogorets to Atletico for 2.25 million. Quentin Timber 7.65 million from Utrecht to Feyenoord. I believe it's like 4 or 5 million outright, and then a couple million for the add-ons. Firmino, like £800,000, just shy of £900,000. I think it's like €1 million is what I think it's roughly working out as, from Watford to Villarreal. In return, Mario Gaspars went to Watford on a free deal. Kounde 45 million from Seville to Barcelona. Petrovsky Dusseldorf to Ludogorets for 1.1. Isaac Dubivik Mata from Ailsland to Groningen. Victor Mendes 2.2 million from Union Espanola to CSK Moscow. Marcus Ford 3.2 to Middlesbrough from Brentford. Nahul Molina from Udinese to Atletico for 18 million. Vitinho 900,000 from Bruges to Burnley. First Brazilian, funnily enough, to sign for Burnley, and it was quite a fun video for that. Ernesto Torregrossa, Sampdoria to Pisa on a loan transfer. Johnny is to Sporting Gijon from Lazio on a free on a loan. I'm surprised Johnny's went to Sporting Gijon. I thought he maybe still maybe playing La Liga rather in the second tier, but each is their own. They're Viton Berisha Viking to Hammarby for 1.8 million. Guilherme Castillo Atletico to Sierra for 1.6. Good spend, like when you look at it, some right good spends kind of across the board. Alex Teixeira going from Besiktas to Vasco da Gama on a free transfer. Jesse Bosch going from Twente to Willem on a free transfer. But yeah, like it's been quite a common theme is a lot of free transfers, mostly from a lot of the like smaller leagues to like half decent leagues, as it were, and it's just people being quite shrewd with their signings. Carlos Izquierdo's going from Boca Juniors to Sporting Gijon on a free transfer. Gijon certainly try to be a bit ambitious, but see if it plays out. Caraca going from Porto to Gil Vicente on loan. Aziz Bech from Gironspor to Dundee United. Honestly, initially when you saw the initial pile of transfers, it was quite minimal, and then it just kind of kicked in the last few days. And Juan David Mosquera, kind of like the last weekend transfer, because that was like Friday's one, from Medellin to Portland for 1.56 million. Kind of being like the last kind of like standout transfer really over the weekend. I know that's pushed into like Wednesday now, really, in a sense, but yeah, that's kind of like really where we're at with like transfers. Like there's certainly potential in a few of these deals. It's where some of them kick on, but obviously at the same time it comes down to if they pay off or not. It's like I feel some of the bigger ones, obviously there's an expectation, and at the same time there's still quite a few transfers like touted around and where they get off the ground, and at the end of the day it's like a long way to go, like Cucurella for example to Chelsea, but also potentially Barcelona, and then it's fun and games really. That's what it comes down to with transfers. Like Nottingham Forest being serious with like their big signings, try to shore up defence, midfield and up front, but with the amount of free agents that are currently available as well, there's certainly scope for quite a few when you've kind of delved in that could end up at a half decent club, especially if people fancy a half decent bit of business to benefit their club at the end of the day, because there'll be people saying to themselves, oh, I could use a defender, or I could use a midfielder, or whatever, and it makes all the difference, because it all comes down to what you need in your team, and it's got to be shrewd with your business, really. That's what it comes down to. But yeah, we'll keep it. I'll maybe talk on like the free agents piles later in the week, because I've got a healthy list of like notable free agents, and depending between now and say the middle of the week, if any of them go over the line, as it were, because I know some of them are possibly like with trials or touted to go to some clubs, so it would be quite good to maybe delve in for like 15-20 minutes, I suppose, just running through all that. But let me know, folks, your thoughts on like your club's transfers so far, any of the weekend transfers that have happened. So take it easy all, thanks for listening, and I will catch you all later.